Hello, Odd Job Doer here, and today we're going to continue on with the kitchen remodel and try to maybe get something done here that would actually bring back the kitchen to its glory, or even better. So what we have here is two options. We got the range option and we got the hood option that we're working on. And the best idea to do is the hood option. Will not be the easiest, maybe not the funnest, but by golly, if anything dropped from this hood, trying to install them onto the range already down here, that would be horrible. So, keep in mind that this is like a new install for both things. Now, if you were just doing hoods and you already have the range down there, maybe get some styrofoam from the packing, like what I got here, or some, a heavy cloth or some cardboard to put over that range. Keep in mind though, if it's a gas range, you want to make sure to check for a standing pilot light and make sure nothing's flammable is going to get near that pilot light. So, we got the hood over here, unboxed, ready to go. But you know what? It's not just one hood we got two. And they're both the same. 30-inch standard from the far side to here. But this one here has a little secret. The secret is, it's not really 30 inches. It's like 29 and something. So I run away and look for a tape measurer. Just kidding. Got it right here. So, we're going to tape across the width of it here. And 29 and, yep, 3/4. So, what we can do is some math here. We have two of those. So 29 and 3/4 plus 29 and 3/4 is, I'll show you 1 inch. 30, 60 minus 1, 2, carry the 7, bring it up, 9, 18, 58, 59 and a half. 59 and a half is what I came up with, which took too long. So anyways, 59 and a half, but you know what? What we're going to do is, where we're going to be hanging this from is up here. You see anything? No. That's why we're going to have to create a rack, per se, for this installation. And what I have procured is some of this angled steel, right? For hobbyists and whatnot, and odd job doers and people. And this stuff here is, this is 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So we got 2 1/4 here, 1 1/2 here. And now when this thing is hung up there, if you have it like so, the 2 1/4, that's going to be a little bit better strength to keeping it from bending in the middle. Likewise, the 1 1/2 is probably strong enough, but for this, we're going to have this 2 1/4 edge hanging out. And instead of doing the 59 1/2, we're going to make it an even 60 inches across. And so we'll find a hacksaw and get to cutting that later. But now over here, we've got this hood, you see, and it comes out of the box kind of like that. It has a, vent thingy on top. This one was a good one. This is I'm assuming it's a good one. It's by Chef, and this is the first time I think I've seen a hood that came with so many parts. So if you want to duct yours through the roof with a round duct, it has that with you. Got you covered. If you want to duct it through the roof with a rectangular, has that too, right? And now, if you want to duct it through the back wall, a horizontal install, it has this plate that goes over here to block off that stuff, and it has a 10 by 3 1/4, I think, rectangular ducting that goes on the back here, and you can blast that nasty air out the back wall. And that is what is going to be chosen for this install. One of the reasons is, I've did a few of these before, going out the back wall, and that's usually the shortest run to get any kind of hot, stinky air out of the house and onto your back patio or somewhere. So first step here was probably not taking this off. I did anyways. And now the second step is you have this part here and you have a gasket right here, see? And so the gasket's going to go there, this is going to go on top of it, and you got 8 tiny screws like this that came with it, right? And I'm just going to screw those back into the top to hold this thing down. And when I say 8, it's because I read the manual and there's actually 10. Anyways, I got those on standby. And you'll notice here, the cord, is already installed. So we're not going to worry about having to worry about the cord on this particular model like we did the old one that we took down. And it has these installation holes here. And I don't think anything on the back, but I'm getting ready to flip this whole thing over because the next step on this, after I put the screws into this top, is to probably take the ones out of the back and to take something up out of the bottom. So let me get to moving this around and I'll continue. Okay, so I'm upside down here and took away 8 screws, well 7. This one here is going to be the 8th screw that goes around this inner frame type of thing. So you pop that off, this should, if you can get a good grip, kind of lift it up and out. Right? Pretty simple there. And put it aside. And didn't expect this. Someone left their clothes inside this thing. This is certainly weird. We got a ratty shirt that some of us have gotten sucked up in there with. And some other stuff here, which I don't think goes, well, yeah, it goes with it. It feels pretty heavy. I'll dig into that in a bit. So, but I'll show you guys what we got in here. We got blower motors here, nice and powerful. This is going to suck the air in through here, and then there's this box, which would have gone out through the top, but now it's going to come out through this one here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more screws here. I'll take that off, and we'll see what's behind there. And yeah. All right. So what else is packed in this thing? This makes 5 screws for this back panel here. Keep the screws set them aside. Oh, look at that. There's an inner panel, which also needs to be taken out if you're going to be venting out through the back. So we got 8, 9, 10 for this one. Keep your screws separate so you know where they're at. Alright, what do we got here? Take this thing up and off. And in there should be the inner workings of stuff. Can't see it, but right there you can see the vents to the blowers. And so now with this off, we can put on the other adapter here to vent it out the back. This is the back. Here is the other adapter. Looks like this here. And since this here is the top up here and the bottom's up there, this right here you want kind of like so. You want to make sure this door opens upwards, and so when it's not blowing it closes down. And this looks like it'll go right on this inner part. That's the good thing. Bad thing is, should be a gasket for this. So let me look around for that. Alright, so the end result is this here. We got the, whatever, the door back on. But there's a little bit of a gap here, you see. And now this does include some ducting tape like this right here. Not the quack duct tape, but some extra real metallized tape. So what I'm going to do is run a thing of tape across the back here. And I'm not too sure if this is what it's for, but I do have other tape for the duct work that might be later done. So Just kind of do a simple measure like that. And this will help keep this little gap here on these holes sealed up. I did not find a gasket for this part for some odd reason. Maybe this is not the most popular installation choice, but this is actually the better installation choice for getting stuff out of your house. Alright, let's see here. Squeeze it behind here and tape it down. So I'll do this part here, and I'll do another little bit of it going down here. Let's see here. And that will help keep this all sealed up nice and well, not airtight, but you know, keep bugs like that from happening. Okay, so I'll finish up with this one on the other side, and next we'll be doing is cutting some of this here angle steel stuff. The prep work for the hood is basically done now. For what we'll be doing, because it already has a cord on this one. I mean, yes, you could take the cord off, I believe, because I see there's a little hole down here. You can pop this thing out, or even on the top part, you can take the cord out if you need to hardwire it in. But this installation is going to do a lot better with, for this installation, the cord is going to be fine. Blah. So, angle steel. All right, you can see right there, the black line here is right at 60 inches. And guess what? This here is a 72-inch length of metal. And so when I cut this off, I'm actually making two of my cuts. I'm making the 60-inch and the 12-inch on each for the sides. So, maybe you don't need them, but you know, eye protection is a good idea. You don't want to get anything in your eye, and I'm going to use at least one glove to keep my hand from getting cut off by the sharp metal. And maybe chalk up a little bit over here somewhere. And we got the hacksaw. Yeah, if you've ever seen a hacksaw before, this one looks like something like this. It has a real fine metal cutting blade, or I'm sure you can cut other things with it. PVC is a good thing to cover this stuff. And some of them actually have a break in the middle, or they can be adjusted by you know, taking them apart to make a longer blade in there, if you have longer blades. This right here tightens your blade. Yeah, anyways, hacksaw. So, let me get back on mark here. And a cutting we will do. And the way I'm cutting this is I'm doing it so the middle part here is down on my surface. And that's going to keep it from kind of flopping around, rolling around. And also I'm going to get basically two cuts in, both legs, by doing this. And you just saw away. Yeah, so if your saw isn't really cutting good, it might be time to replace the blade. This one here is still pretty sharp, but to save film, I'll cut this back. I just cut that piece in half. Yeah, or close enough. And so this right here, the cutoff part, it could be sharp. So you just have these files, right? Just kind of run it over, like so, around the corners and the edges, right? And get some of that sharpness and burrs that might be there down. Because even though a good time people won't be touching this too much after it's installed, you know, maybe working with it, you just want to be careful. Alright, I got my pieces here laid out, and I just kind of square them off, and I'll take the side piece here, and I'll put it on the top, and then we'll run up a bolt, like yay, up underneath. So, and we'll finish off with a split washer, a nut. Let's kind of cinch it down a little bit here with my thumb. Do the other side over here. Same thing. Bolt up underneath. Split washer and nut. And then I'll do it to the other side as well. And before I tighten these down, I got a adjustable wrench for the outside, and I got this little little stubby here for the inside. You could use a a socket driver if you could find it, locate it somewhere. If like your tools were organized, you could find it. But I digress. So I'll do the other side. I will double check my measurements to see if I have 12 inches at the bottom here, or about that, and 60 across. And then otherwise this rack will be ready to hang after I adjust and tighten. Alright, so and I had something like this right here, a little 90-degree angle. Put it in the corners to make sure the parts are all squared up. Tighten the bolting assembly down, and now we got a rack ready. For the most part, there's more to come on this. Something's kind of bothered me here. I'll get a little rant and rave here. So, the people that bought these hoods, that's the brand there, right? And now it's actually also called that there. You can see it there, a little blurry. Right, they seem like good hoods. They seem, stand still, professional looking, nice. But the problem is there's two of them here that I'm installing for them. The first one I opened up has a little bit of issues. Looks like this mess here. And there are some parts on it that are broken that makes it pretty much inoperable. The second one was perfect, I believe, in most every way. And here's the rant. So these people got these things here, yes, about a little bit over a year ago, and they paid for new ones from a company online that starts with a W, that I won't say the rest of it. I'll say it's not Walmart. So it's a company online that sells household stuff, starts with a W, and there's no thing about it saying that these were returns, damaged, messed up hoods. The people thought they were getting a brand new hood. Well, as it says in the instructions here, when you kind of get it, you might want to test it out. All right, that's good words to live by, apparently. And when they got these two items, the boxes were fine on the outside, so I figured, great, they're going to save up when they have time to do the kitchen remodel, everything will be fine. And they hired me to come do the work, and like I said, we found this one here messed up. So what did they do? They called back, and they talked to, I think they talked to the manufacturer of that, which now is, going by this name here. And not so much this, but I guess that's a series. And I talked to them, and they said that what they could do is they could send out a perfectly fine, factory certified refurbished unit. And when they told me, I'm like, all right. I like to see how this plans out. Of course, I get to, because I'm still working for them installing this stuff. And so guess what? The new one came today, and it's right here. Bum, bum, bum. And unlike the other two so far, I decided to, well, actually I did plug in, I think, both of them. But this one here I plugged in, and, it made some, weird noises and did some stuff. So I guess it's going through its, startup phase. But right off the bat, you got this buttons on the top here. Turn the light, and look at that. Now, from my understanding, this only has lights on or off. There's no high or low. And so they sent a unit with a busted light of something. Chances are, hopefully, for this being factory certified, you'd think that the company would have looked into it. Oh, now the other company, while I'm on this rant, the one with the W, they flat out said, it's been a year, you know, we wash our hands of it, we can do nothing for you, except for give you the phone number to the manufacturer. And apparently, though, what had happened was that this company online sold it at their storefront, but it gets shipped out of this other company's, right, their warehouse. And so this came from their warehouse too, the refurbished stuff. And I guess the part that I as an installer have, let's see how this works now. All right, fixed it, 2 lights, great. Life can go on here. The only other bad thing about this is right down here, pretty massive, well not massive, but you know, a dent. So this one here will definitely go up against the cupboard to hide the dent there. I don't think there's any scratches on the front, but they haven't gotten behind this panel yet, and trust me, if I get behind that panel and something else is wrong, I'll be adding it to this tape. Speaking of which, something else is wrong. The top blower part, these here should be attached on the top round ducting, and they weren't. They were floating around the box freely. You know, we got a broken spring here, and so if I actually needed this part, well, I'd be out of luck. Luckily, we're not. We're venting out the back, which that too came a little bit dent, the back vent. So, get off my little rant here. Hopefully, you know, I assured the customers that, so they got one that works out just fine. They have another replacement model that came a little bit junked up for being factory certified. That's rabbit ears. And then there's another one that is as broken, but there's parts available, which I guess they said that the company does not need that broken one back. So I told them, I said, for surely, between these 2 broken ones, I should be able to rebuild a new one if need be. And so I'll be working on that, because here's the kicker, folks. Even though the company did give them this refurbished one as a replacement, they still had to charge like, I think, $30, something like that, they said, for shipping and handling. Right? So for the original price that the people paid, plus an extra 30 on top of that, they got 2 broken units. And I don't know. Is that right? Is that how things are done nowadays? So, you know, if anyone listens to this rant part, put in the comments if you ever had anything like this happen to you, how you feel about stuff like that. You know, on one side, sure, it's almost out of the 1-year warranty. I think they were saying they bought it of April of last year, in 19, and now it's April 20, and they're finally getting around to getting this installed. They had some, you know, issues from what I understand, and now they still got issues with this. For one, I don't think that's right. You paid full price for something. It should have at least a warranty on it for a year, and like I said, this is just getting installed right off the bat, and it's not even been used yet. And the other one, the one that I opened up and had a surprise inside after I took this off, someone knew that issue was there. You know, the thing is, you can't look at the outside of the boxes, because the outside of the boxes are all fine. So all this damage, this dent down here, the light not working. The light not working is not because of the box. The light not working is because someone who was certifying this at the factory to send it back out didn't put a new or working bulb in there. You know, likewise, the one behind me with the weird packing material inside and the broken parts inside, that too, if someone actually looked at that, their factory, their warehouse where it was at, and they shipped it out of, they should have known it was broken and shouldn't have shipped it out in the first place. Did they warranty it? Not really. So anyhow, rant over. I'm going to continue now. And with this new one here, I'm going to turn off the camera, take a breather, take these screws out, make sure it's all fine. And we'll be getting back to, I believe, hanging the rack up. So now we're back over here. We've got the rack set up here temporarily. And I'm going to put it up here against the wall, right? And what we'll be doing here is the range. It's going to go an inch above the countertop here. So I'm going to do, I think the hoods here that we have wants a minimum of 31 inches they said on them, even though the booklet says 30. So I'm going to go with what the range says, about 31. And it could be a little bit higher. If you have your range hoods a little bit higher, you usually might have a little bit less efficiency of getting the the smells out, whatever, but these seem to have pretty good CFM flow, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. If you have it lower though, I think they said it could mess with the gas burners on top. Not too sure. But measurements, I'm going to do 31 inches. Actually, so that's what I'm going to do is 32 from the countertop here and mark it up on the cupboard there in the wall. And that 32 will give me my 31 with a, a 1-inch buffer from the bottom part here. And of course, this range has the right legs on it, so it could be raised and lower to what you want it to be. Alright. Bring it up like so. And 32 right in here. And right in there. Okay. And now that is going to be the bottom of the hood. So we got to take the measurement of the hood, which is over here, and we'll do the height of there. Like so. Range hood. That is hitting right about looks like 6 7/8. I'm gonna go ahead and round up to 7 inches. So back over here, up here, somewhere. I'm not too sure where mark is anymore from here, but basically I'm going to find that mark and do 7 inches above it. Right like so. And I'll mark it up here. On the cupboard and the wall. Now then, from there, we're going to do the rack. So the rack itself here, and I just want to measure it. I think it's like 2 1/4. Yeah, 2 1/4 high. So I'll bring it up like here and do 2 1/4 or so. And just right there. Actually, I think I measured off a staple. Anyhow, then that rack here is going to be hoisted up and sit in like this, right below that plug, basically. Alright, now to find that, or to support, I should say, we're going to use stud detector. And stud detector here against the wall. Move it around. Of course, I know there's a stud here, right? And then I go across the wall and see how many more I can find. I figure there might be 2 to 3 other studs I can tap into. Now, up there where the outlet's at, since we did that outlet and, what do we do with that? We took it out and we put the wires in and stuff. I know that the stud is on this side over here. Stud's on this side here, because this box is kind of nailed into it. Actually, it's not, but it's right up against it just about. And I think also running up that way is wires. So keep in mind, the range is going to go out the back wall. I want to go a little bit more complicated here. I'm going to go a little bit over from that, but I think the rack has enough play in it to go about a little bit over from what the ducting is. So I'll concentrate on here, find the studs, and getting some bolts up there to hold this rack up. Which we'll start with getting a level. And I'll take a level up to the markings. Alright, and run a line across. Hard to see maybe, but what we got here on the wall is basically I took the stud detector and I found that the outer limit was over here on a stud. The other outer limit was on this side, and so right in the middle there is where I drew a line. And that's where I'm going to drill a pilot hole to put the bolts in. Now I also ran this line down because we have this straight line up here, which I took the level. You know, I did this kind of action coming from over yonder in the corner, right about there somewhere. You know, I found out my marks, and then I brought it across after making sure that, you know, the level was level. Okay, drew a line across, so I got a straight line there. That's actually going to be the top lip of the frame that we got built here. And next what I'm going to do is going to need two hands again. I'd like to be able to show this. So maybe I'll switch around some camera angles. And alright, now with Sharpie in hand, I'll come up here and we have it drawn out there. So I can lift this rack up. Whoop. And alright. So we can get in place without messing everything up. Cap off Sharpie. And what I'm going to do here is simply get the rack up in position against the wall, up against that line for the top of it here. Okay, and then making sure it's pretty much straight across, then I will give it a marking like so. I'll find the holes that line up close as I can to those drop down lines that mark the studs. Alright. And then give it a marking like so. Just right in here and on this metal here. Okay. Then we'll find out the next one is down here. Whoops. Well, I'll start with that one. I'll switch positions. So basically got that marked, and I got also marked on the rack for where we're going to be drilling. And I'll know which hole the bolt goes through to hold it to the wall. Alright, so let's talk about bolts. This are lag screws. This is a lag screw. I got an optional washer on here. Nice kind of thick one. And 4 inches at least. And so we're going to stick it in here, right? Now stick it in there, since this doesn't have the special self-cutting tip that some bolts do, you got to kind of drill out your hole first, okay? Otherwise I could probably use the drill driver and drive this in and split the 2x4. We don't want that. So we're going to use this here to kind of core out a hole. And usually my fail-safe reason, I know there's charts out there you can find, but if you take this like so, and you take a drill bit, I don't know if I can show on camera, you basically just about take out that center part and you just see the threads hanging on both sides of the drill bit. And that's what you know should be a good size drill bit to accommodate for this bolt. So, got the holes marked, and I'll adjust the drill here accordingly. And I marked it right about above that little black dot here, should be about perfect. And if you have a level on your drill, make sure it's level and going to go straight in. And here we go. So through the drywall, now we're into the stud. I usually like to drill this and back up and make sure it's wood and not metal flakes on there. It's not drilled into a screw head or metal plate. Sometimes if you have other electrical work or plumbing work on the wall, you have metal plates that go on the 2x4 to block people from drilling in. Alright, there's one. And now from there, we're just going to tuck this back in a little bit, and then we'll put this in and get a ratchet for this end here and just ratchet it on. But before that, I got to drill 2 more holes and get the rack in place. Alright, so I already got 2 up there. I'm doing the 3rd one here, right in through the drywall and into the stud behind it, using a socket driver. And it goes pretty easy at first. Then when you hit the wood, it gets a little bit harder. And then it gets harder as you keep going in, the deeper you go. Now keep in mind, the point here is not to crush this to the wall. It's just to get it up in an elevated level like that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep ratcheting this down. And the sooner, when I get up to where it's almost flush against the wall again, I will take the level out and see how level we are across the top here before I tighten down these bolts to the wall. Alright, and there it is. So we got the rack done, right? And now we can start hanging our hoods, except for, you know, it's a little wobbly still. You know, it's in the wall, but you know, it's a little bit wobbly, so it could be a little bit tougher. So we need to run something somehow. And with going with the industrial look of this, what we got here is a little bit of some chain, right? And now what we're going to be doing next here is we have some chain, and the best way to do this, I guess you could do it from the ceiling up here somewhere, down straight to this edge up here. But also you can do it from this edge up here to the back header, which is right up there. Just a little bit short from the ceiling. There should be some solid wood that's coming down. And so we're going to go into that header and probably measure in maybe about here. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in from one side and 4 holes into the other side, and bring it up to the wall there, and drop a chain down. And if you go this route, make sure you look at everything involved they'll be doing from here on out for this rack. It has some limits to it, right? When you go to get this chain cut at your hardware store, it's going to tell you how much weight it can hold. And other pieces I have, same thing. I'm going to link them together. So let me find my marks up there, and I'll start by drilling a hole again. What we have here is an eye bolt here, right? With a washer again, kind of like we did with the movie room project. And some threads here, so this is going to go in the wall, have the washer on the outside. And we're not going to drive this in all the way, we're going to leave some out for leveling effects. If you don't want to use that, you could drive it all the way and get a, that's not a toggle, I forget what it's called. But you can get something to bridge the gap there, and it has, like, you know, threads on both sides, so you can tighten it and loosen it to raise and lower this ever so slightly. But we're just going to not drive it all the way and work with that for our leveling. So let me get some holes marked and drill, and I'll get these eye bolts in on both sides. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the hole up there, and this is after we had measured, and did some other stuff. Well, make sure we measured and we drilled a hole. And now we got room to put in the eye bolt. So I can see this up here, but this is the eye bolt, and this part here, right, it's going to end up like this. Not like this. You don't want this gapping part down, you want it up. So to start with, I shoved this stuff in there. And as you can see also, I got the washer on. Now, we might not be running this all the way into the wall, but, you know, coming pretty close. And now I'm no structural engineer, but I have a good feeling that putting the bolts here in this header and having them in like that with the force coming down this way is better than having them up in the ceiling coming down straight. My problem is, once you get started, you gotta switch to something like, you know, giant screwdriver to try to to get it in here. And sometimes you need something a little more offsetted, so you go like a wrench thing. Unfortunately, this isn't big enough to bridge the gap of the eye bolt, so I can't just, you know, like that. But I'm going to keep doing this like this, and maybe add this giant screw every once in a while until that thing is down close to the wall, and we'll continue from there. Probably about 5 hours from now. To finish this up a little bit, I drove that eye bolt in, so all the threads are in the wall for sure, and so it's probably about maybe ½ inch of it still hanging out. And what I got here is some of these spring snaps, right? You know, things like that. They say they support up to 200 pounds each. And we've got our chain. And so what we'll be doing here is I'm going to go up top there and snappy and see how things fit. This here should be fairly easy. I'm going to start with spring snapping the end of the chain and bringing around the bottom and snapping this up here. Right? I'm coming down with my chain, I'm gauging it, I'm finding the hole that I went off from, which is down here, and I am going to spring snap it. Let's see, figure this out here. Spring snap like that. And then right here, this is the chain link that needs to be taken off. So I'm going to hold this spot here. And I'll undo this here. And I'll go cut my chain link off. Alright, made short change of that chain link. So, back up the ladder I go, and now I know, so a good feeling that that chain is almost perfect from here to the other one. But this could probably do one more turn. So, I'll get on this here and give it some turn. When I say some turn, I mean 360. Because like I said, you want that one piece up to the top. Okay. Whoop. Don't scrape that pin again. Alright, then we got our chain here. And I'll hook it back on here. Right, and that's looking good there. So, hook it off there, and there. Now then, has a little slack, a little planet there. So, what we're going to do now is, and this is where having multiple levels come in handy. Because although I do have other levels, I'm only finding this long one. But yet, I can still balance it on so, and check for level, and I push down on it. And it looks like I need to probably go in at least 2 more rungs, maybe. So, I'm going to tighten up that top bolt there, which means I'll unclip it from up there, tie it up, and then there we have it. The industrial rack is done pretty much. You can pull down on it. It's strong. It's heavy duty. I could probably hang off of it. Maybe not. But anyhow, let's see now. The next we'll be doing is get ready to mount the hoods. So I'll have to take some measurements and see how we're going to do this. I have a feeling though that we're going to duct out from this wall here through the back. So I'm going to figure around the back and see what that wall looks like. And make sure there's nothing there, which there wasn't earlier. So back here, and just by looking at it, we know it's going to go between these 2 windows here, and there's a light there. On the back side of that light is pretty much the power box around there to where you saw that plug when we chinned the plug out inside. That's the receptacle's like right behind that thing. So nothing is in this area here, and that is where the vents will be popping out. So back to measuring. Okay, so now we're getting ready to actually install the hood. And if you already have something up here for top support, you're almost there. In fact, if you're just swapping out a hood, it's so much easier than all what we're doing in this video here. But so we have our rack up top, nicely secured, and what we're going to do now is as we refer to the manuals, which, oddly enough, in this manual that came with one of the hoods, the first batch, you know, it talks about a little bit, you know, if you're ducting up through the roof, it talks about some screws to remove the inside of the thing, you know, how to put the housing together, how to, you know, duct out the back. But see, there's no, besides this picture here, no real measurements in this manual. Right, how to do certain things. And so that manual is kind of useless. The next manual that came with the replacement one, it's a little bit better, right? It has some measurements there. And this is for to go through the back wall. But I did notice here, if you look real closely here, which you'll probably be able to look, it says 18 inches on center, right? But this is a 30-inch hood. Granted, it does say the top for 36-inch Rains hoods, so that's great and all. I might glance this again. Actually, I won't. I'll just let it go right here. Because what we have over here is a unit upside down, right? And ready to be installed now. Has the damper put on here. And what I'll be doing is basically taking the measurement of that is just slightly smaller, I think, than the measurement of this thing here, this ducting that's going to go outside and work its way in. And this ducting is, I think it was right on 3 1/4 by 10 1/8 maybe. Once I got the skew. So 3 1/4 by 10 1/8, whatever. And that damper, which is on the back, right here, is like this one here, right? And this is going to fit right about inside this hole. Like so. Anyways, my point is that this right here, we'll do a little measuring instead of going by any kind of schematics. So I'm going to do non-GD&T. I'm going to go from point to point on this maybe. And so if I start from this side over here and go over right to that, we got about 10 inches. That's part of the ductwork. This right here is about 9 7/8 maybe. And then over yonder, that's guess what, another 10 inches. So this right here is about centered up. Now the other measurement that's important is underneath here, down here. You can see it, but basically I will take a measurement from here, which is about a 1 inch. I'll do a better measurement though before I start cutting. So 1 inch, and we will go to our canvas, where I've kind of made some markings already. Slightly hard to see, but up on this wall here, I went from the edge of this rack over 10 inches and I made a mark. Actually, I did 15 for on center, even though those are not exactly 30 inches across. Those are 29 3/4. So to get this more centered, instead of going 15 over, 14 1/8 I'll be doing. And then back off 5 inches this way, and 5 inches that way. That gives me my 10-inch gap here for the ducting to go through. Now all I'm going to do is that measurement from the top of the unit, which is going to rest against these here metal plates, and come down, which I think is probably about 1 inch or so, which we're almost have out here. So I'll go like this way here. So basically I will get a little square, no, I'll get a bubble float here, and I will level it out and draw me a rectangle. Alright, behold, so what we have here is, lines. Got the level out, made them all nice. 10 by 3 1/4 inch about, 10, 3 1/4 inch up and down. And what I have here is, boom, 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 a genuine drywall cutting knife saw, right? Jagged teeth here, right here, right? Smooth on the top here. Nice point for stabbing through your drywall. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and start with right in here. So I get on my line and I just kind of give this a little pop. Mind you now, I already took a stud detector over this area, so there should be no studs within this 10-inch square. So I started off, get through the drywall, and just in and out. Trying to keep in line with the line. I don't really go too deep, I just try to go, at least at this point I don't, I just try to get across to deep to the drywall and not into anything like wires that could be there, which I doubt it, or piping or insulation is the big thing, because this is an outside wall up here, so this has an insulation there. And I will just continue sawing like so around my artwork on the wall until I get a rectangle. Alright, behold, let's see how we've done here. Take this piece of drywall out, and oh, there's something behind there, but this right here has some plastic sheathing, it looks like. That I will probably just kind of cut out some more. Then we got some insulation paper back in here, then we got some insulation fiberglass. And now the important thing is this thing here, does it fit? That either fits like a glove or needs a little bit more dropping down. But it's pretty close. So I'm just going to probably shave off around the bottom a little bit more down here, and maybe each side just a little bit more, squared up some more, and see if that fits. Now, the part that's going to go through there, actually that should come through the other side, but this right here, this guy right, damper thing, this is going to go right up in here. Like so. See, so that fits pretty good. Of course, it's not blowing right now, so that there I'm going to do a little bit more and work on getting this insulation. I'll probably cut it side, middle, take out this here, take out the paper maybe, and pack up here and pack down there. Yeah, that's what I'll do with it. I won't actually pull out the insulation, I'll still stuff it down. Alright, so we got a hole there, a window to the outside almost, and move the insulation back, and this is where a nice long drill bit comes in handy, right? So, what I like to do here is I go in the corner of said hole, and I like to get it leveled, you see. And after it's leveled, both up and down, left and right, I like to penetrate that back wall. Now, granted, this bit here is for masonry, and that's because on the other side of this wood that is back in here should be stucco. And yes, if I had a long wood drilling bit, I'd probably start with that. In fact, I might go look for it again. This is looking good so far. So after I drill 4 holes through here, through the outside wall, which of course if you have, you know, plastic siding, or if you have wood, something like that, feel free to just use a normal drill bit, right? But if you have, you know, if you have a brick wall, then I'd be using a mason bit to start with to drill some starter holes all the way through probably, and then use a mason bit to cut out that chunk of brick. So, but since we don't have that, we have drywall. Use the drywall saw, and then use this drill bit to mark basically the 4 corners here on that back wall in there, and go through to the outside wall. And that's where I will continue. Right, so here we're on the outside again, and you know what? Not so bad. We pretty much aced these 2 top ones, I think. This one here is still okay. This one here, that's what I make a stucco patch for. It's gonna be here. And I took a level, measured out, leveled the lines out, plumbed them, and we're gonna get this puppy up in here. After we cut through the drywall, should fit there nicely. And what we're gonna use is we're going to use the good old abrasive blade, right? A reciprocating saw here. And I'm going to cut through this part. Try not to go too deep though, because there is the wood. And the wood, I'll switch blades to wood cutting blade. So, I'm going to plug this in, put on some eye and maybe some breathing protection. Alright, I'm going to get to work on this saw for a little bit and kind of working our way around. I switched to this actually. If you have a cold chisel, straight chisel, you can use that. Chisel around, a little hammer action on that. And so I painstakingly chiseled around to find out that this is not as thick of stucco as I thought it was. So we got this part here, and now what we got there is a chicken wire. So I just take some cutters, go around cutting the chicken wire like so. And then we'll get to, it looks like styrofoam, which I might just go back in and grab that drywall knife or something like that and work that way through. And then behind that styrofoam will probably be the wood paneling. But we'll find out stucco. After cutting through that styrofoam, after getting through a little piece of black tar paper, which was no problem for once, we got to the wood paneling there. And you can see there that we got some holes drawn, thanks to a half-inch drill bit here. And what we'll do then is, with those holes, we can start the reciprocating saw, and we change blades from the stucco one to the, or abrasive one I should say, to a rough wood cutting one. That's what should make short work of that inner wall panel. So when you, and meanwhile, I've already pounded out a little bit more of this stucco and stuff out here to make sure that it fits going in. So now I gotta do is hopefully cut that wood around that diameter of the square, whatever, perimeter, and it should slide right in. So let me get to cutting. Alright, what do we got here, huh? What we got is someplace I don't want to stick my finger in, so use my special tool. Give it a little pry here. A little push down there. Oh, well, well, well. Looks like we're getting ready to have a splinter happen. Alright, so there we go. Take some of this wood out. And shove some of this stuff down here. Put some of that back there. And we'll see if all that gonna make it work. Let's see here. Maybe there might be some slight trimming needs to be done. Alright. Okay, that is feeling pretty good. Actually, it's sticking on the insulation side. So I'm going to head inside and pull it on through here. You can see that we've got about 1 inch or so of this here hanging out through the wall. And so pull this snug, and it'll take me a little Sharpie and mark it off, around it. And there's two trains of thoughts here. One is, okay, that didn't work very good. But one is, since we have marked it off, we pull it back out through the wall, use some, probably just tin snips on this, to cut around this here, then shove it back through, and then the metal should be equal to the wall. Alright? The second idea is to basically cut at the corners here to the wall, and since this is thin material, fold it down against the wall and try to press it in good. That idea I believe I like the most right now. The only problem is the top. I think we have about 3/4 between this and that, so I'll still have to use some tin snips to snip this top part down, but I'm going to find those. And the other thing I'll be doing is back outside. I don't know if it needs to be shown, but I need to put some silicone caulking around on the inside of that lip so it can stick to the wall better and be watertight and airtight, kind of. So yeah, I'll probably show that. So on the outside of this thing here, I had ran the silicone caulking around, and trust me, got some all over the hand and stuff. And it's for outside use and kind of a construction / waterproof sealant. So that's going to keep that from leaking in. And now, like I said, in here, we've got this here pushed in all the way, so it's time to cut corners, so to say. And let's see here. Got some aluminum tin snips, whatever. Makes pretty quick work of that thin metal. And got that snip like so on both sides. So basically what I'll do is I will, well, maybe I'll go ahead and snip a top corner. If I can get in there. There, almost brilliant. Okay, so what we're doing here is basically this. Abracadabra, we're pushing down against the slip and just bending it on over. Trying to kink it there without bulging it too much. Now then, this right here maybe don't want to stay, and that's okay, because I want to apply some tape to this thing too to hold it against the wall. Like this, and over here too. There. Same thing, I'll tape that one. I will snip this one, and I will get this one here cut. Well, after this is cut here, I'll bend this one back. And then I will have to cut this top one down a little bit. And as you notice, this also seals kind of your outside opening, or from the wall too. So, looks like that, and I will throw on some tape here in a little bit. So, word of caution, when you're working with metal ducting, stuff like that, especially if you're not used to it, even if you are used to it, you might want to put on some gloves, like leather gloves or no-cut gloves, just to hopefully not get a stub on your hand. Anyways, or a geyser, you know, a bleeder, something like that. So this right here I got kind of taped to the wall. The tape's kind of flimsy that I have here, but this is going to do the point, because what we'll be doing next is a fit test. Basically, here's one of the dampers, right? And it goes up like so, and you know what? It fits in there nice and tight and smooth. So, that is a success. Even though if it keeps doing that. Main point is you get the corner here taped, and when the unit gets pressed in there, you'll hold all this stuff down. So any kind of critters will go sneaking through, except for the microscopical ones. Alright, so what we've got next to do is we're going to be hanging it from up top here, and what we have here to do the span is more angle iron. And so it's not the same stuff. I mean, I guess it could be, but this here's what we have, and this here is a 48-inch long piece, which is just right. We're going to cut 12-inch pieces out of it, and it's going to go, you know, up on top of this thing like so. Have some bolts, which will be using the, I like to say panhead bolt, but I don't know if that's the right term. But you know, the flatter head bolts to secure that to this top middle bar up here. So I'll get to cutting and yeah, find some bolts. Alright, so I got some of these here, you see, flattish charge bolts. And what we're going to do with that is, down here I flip this over, and so we have the top here. And now if you have wooden cupboard, you know, wood above, whatever, you know, standard install, yeah, feel free to just put this thing up there and use the cheap little screws provided to secure it to your cupboard. What we're going to do here is cut some angle iron, and this here is going to fit right over these holes. And so what we're going to measure is the distance from the sides over there too, to that hole, and then the space from that hole to this hole here, to know where to lay these out up on the rack system. Kind of like how that one there's already up there, but not in the right spot. So, I will go ahead and take some measurements, like so. And we've got about 2 1/4 inch. Can't tell from there, but I'll measure it and install these railings, which I've already seen where this here can go either this way or that way. But on this side here, there's a wire in the back, and so it can only fit like that. Alright, so I'll measure, and so I gotta make some adjustments to my measurements because I kind of forgot about the cord, right? So I offset stuff a little bit, and that should still be okay because it's just on the rack, I believe. Anyhow, up here what we got is that. So flat part down here, nut part up on the other end. See right back on there. A spring washer in between them. And right now it's a little loose. Just so when I go to put this hood up here, you know, I can adjust as necessarily. So this part here they talk about in the manual. Yeah, this is an interesting thing. I've never seen this before. Products about that kind of work. They show here a cupboard jack, right? See right there? You if you have your range here, put something safety over there, like this huge block of wood, whatever. You have this jack to help lift up your hood. Or it says, you know, get 3 people to do this. Well, I'm just going to do it myself, so we'll see what happens. But the main part is, I'm going to put up there and test it for fitting to make sure that I could see, you know, these holes here for mounting line up with some of the holes up here in my brackets. And if they don't, it's not going to be in the world because this metal is not reinforced around those holes or anything on this hood. And so after I get this thing up there, I'll just mark holes and drill some holes down as long as there's nothing up underneath this thing, like, you know, the blowers and stuff, which I don't think I'm going to be off that much. So I'm going to feed the cord up to this little gap in here, and then lift it up with one hand and put the bolts in the other hand and screw them down from the top to the other hand. Alright, there it is hung up there. You can see up on the top there how the bolts kind of come up there, I think. Well, you do here with the rack and stuff. Alright, got it plugged in to the wall. Clock's on, needs to be set. And next what we gotta do is work on this bottom panel here, because the panel is right there. That's gonna go up there, and you know, this should be easier than everything else, I'm assuming. At least for my install. If you're doing this one, maybe yours is a little bit different. And let's see, so 8 screws. And this here sets up above, kind of like so. Yep, and then you can put these little screws that we took out earlier from this back in. Let's see here. Got it started but not snug. And then I'll get one on the other side here. Alright, and then I'll do the 6 more and so snug them all down. Next what we'll do is we'll install this this right here, right? What this is a little, I think, moisture grease holder, and from the fans. So the fans, you know, stuck up here. And I guess there's a trough in there that leads to a little hose. You can see it right back there. So make sure these hoses are protruding down through each side. You got 2 of them for 2 fans, and then there's a little bracket right on there. Well, this thing will just slide right in. Should slide right in on both sides here. And there's a little window, and that part goes to the front of this thing. And the window is for, I'm assuming, watching to see if it gets full of stuff, liquids, grease, whatever. And yeah, there's actually a little line, probably you'll see it, but right here it says Max on it. So once that's up to there, Max can empty it out. So that goes in like so. And no, I think what I might have to do is actually do the baffles. So we have these things here, right? On the back side here, it's spring loaded. On the front, there should be a little place for a notch, which these here have a little notch in them. Notch right here, probably hard to see. But I'll take off all this protective stuff here. You don't want that on there. And reinstall it. Okay, so now finally got that thing all cleaned off. And what this does is basically you have a handle like here. And so this is the part, you know, that comes down, and your steam, odors, whatever go through here, go through the baffle, and whatever doesn't get blown out might get trapped inside here, usually in a liquid form, I believe, and will run down these to these little holes that also go in the trough. So these here just kind of go up, make sure it's over to the far side on the springs, and up and lock it down. When I say lock it down, I can see a better view here of that little tab right there. See? So that tab just kind of goes into a notch that's cut inside the front of this unit. Alright, so that there is that. And I'll do a quick little test here. Take this off. And I'll show you. So we got a power button here, you tap it. Comes on, there's light. This only has one level, which is that. You know, nice and bright. Fan. So once you hit the on, hit the up or down. Okay, so you have a little gauge there. Alright, so that's the max there. And if you're done, you just hit off. And I think there's a little timer thing over here that has something to do with starting the clock. And also you can do a walk away. So if you cook something, kitchen's still smelly or hot, you push that walk away button, and I think you can put up a timer. Maybe it does like 15 seconds or something minutes, I don't know. Gotta read the manual for that. Anyways, this here is pretty much it. Yeah, whoops, get back on point. So there'll be another one installed next to this thing here. This here is basically it for a range hood. And not to bore everyone with a whole new range hood, which is basically about the same thing, we'll go right next to it. This is it. So questions, comments, leave them below, and thanks for watching. Well, the next video will be probably the range down here, finishing that up and installing it.